Vou falar em português e depois eu vou mudar para inglês, senão a conversa ia ser difícil. E o meu sueco ainda não é o suficiente para falar com ele. Mas eu sou originalmente do Brasil, é um prazer estar aqui, um super agradecimento para a PEL. E eu acabei sendo uma pessoa interessante, porque eu moro na Suécia há 7 anos, então eu sou cliente do sistema educacional sueco com os meus 2 filhos, então acho que essa conversa pode ser interessante. So, Johan, I just had to prove I can still speak Portuguese.
Yes.
So,
Do you want me to prove that I speak Swedish?
Lo kan göra det.
Yeah.
So, but going straight to the facts here, when you compare Portugal and Sweden in some numbers, so the number of books sold in 2024, as Miguel said yesterday, in Portugal was 14 million, in Sweden was 69 million. The countries have absolutely the same 10 million population. Also, in terms of reading, according to Eurostat in 2022, 70% of Swedes read a book in the last year, while in Portugal, in this study was 42, in the studies we saw today was 58, but I'm using these studies just for better comparison. So Sweden is a nation of readers, or listeners, we'll talk about that later. What is the reason for Sweden's success? What made Sweden this country of people that read so much?
Thank you for the question, and it's of course very complicated to give a short answer to this, but I think it's started very early since Sweden made the school system mandatory for about 180 years ago to take out other institutions who were carrying out the writing and the reading and the transmission of this into the society. So the state took the control for the education system and brought basically all kids from the rural areas, from the farmers, and put them in the school system, and the farmers were screaming at that time too. We gave the opportunity to create the tradition and the capacity to read. So that was of course important. And then Sweden had, during its earlier history, a lot of influence from the continent, of course, and the rest of the world. We are quite an open society, so we started to focus on the Swedish literature and the Swedish language very early with the Swedish Academia, who are today responsible for the Swedish Nobel Prize, especially in literature. So that's where it started. And then we have been working with different campaigns and different drivers to help people to get interested into reading. And we have since many years, a very broad, well-working library system where people really are very much welcome. So that's been important also. And the government has, of course, during many years, all governments, I would say, promoted reading, especially to help unprivileged families to get in touch with books, etc. So that's the way. But now we do have the same challenges as the rest of Europe and the rest of the world. That people don't have the grit, don't have the fighting force to learn to read, and they escape to other media instead.
Okay, and my second question relates to just giving the context in Portugal. We have here the National Reading Plan, Plano Nacional de Leitura, and you have the school library network, the Rede de Bibliotecas Escolares, and those 2 programs have been very important in creating a steady policy and public policy in Portugal in the last years. In the last months, there have been some discussions as the Minister of Education is making some restructuring. But going to Sweden doesn't have a plan like that. It's not the same format. But you do have a law, the Reading for Future law, Reading for Life, sorry. And you also have the Reading Council, Läsrådet. So could you comment a little bit on those 2 things and the importance of having a long-term public policy for reading and literacy?
Yes, it's obviously that this is not anything a government and only politicians and the political system can take responsibility for. You have to need a lot of actions and a lot of agents working in the same direction, of course. With that said, we do have tried to focus having the broad responsibility from the state, from our authorities. And then we have the Art Council, where the Reading Council is a subpart, and they are doing all these things which are happening on state level, on regional level, and on local level in the municipalities to promote reading, to create activities like a book for everyone, instead of getting meaningless toys at McDonald's. For 15 years they got a book, small book for every kid when they had a Happy Meal. And we're working with letterbox clubs for kids in institutions. We have a special focus on kids coming from another part of the world with their parents as immigrants. We're trying to work with the fathers, who are the worst readers in Sweden still. They look football instead, maybe. And they different projects like Dad Read to Me, etc. So all this is carried out by finding the best methods, the best projects to meet people where they are, because Sweden is a large country. In numbers, we are exactly as Portugal, of course, but there's a very big difference between urban areas, rural areas, north, south, east, west. So you have different challenges. So that's why a lot of this work is carried out on a local or regional level.
Interesting. So it was on the news everywhere, here, Spain, Brazil, that Sweden in the recent year made some changes of focus, getting a little bit away from digital and focusing more on print books. As a parent in Sweden, when I read some of this news in this part of the world, I was really surprised, because I learned there that my kids had never touched a book. That was not the problem in Sweden, but that's how the news put it. I was like, hey, Lorenzo just came with a book yesterday. And then when things start changing, yeah, they start getting more books and less digital, but they still have digital. So then I started studying this, and I realized that it was a different approach in different levels of schooling, and my kids are 6 to 9 years. So can you explain exactly what was done, the importance of what was done, but how much digital is still left, or is it more a balance between them? That would be great.
Yes, of course it is a balance, but there was a way that the Swedish school system developed. It was captured by the edtech industry, basically. And in Sweden, we are afraid of a lot of things. Mostly we are afraid of being unmodern. and therefore people thought that having a digital platform in front of very small kids was a very modern thing. It's not modern, it's stupid. But the pressure from the edtech industry, of course, was very tough, and politicians thought a way to modernize and getting rid of books. So there was a decline in school libraries, and the parents and the kids, they got handouts and they got digital reading platforms for them to do their homework, and this didn't work. It didn't create the importance of having a focus on early reading, and you should do that with the paperback, which I think has been confirmed by some of the recent speakers at this conference. And I mean, when I say we should use the paperback, we should have paper and pencil to learn to write. I mean, this is because I want, the government wants, Sweden wants us to be the leader of the digitalization. We want to have the best AI engineers at the end of the day, but that doesn't start with a digital tablet in front of a 1-year-old kid or a first grader. So you have to see that this is totally different things. So we do have a platform, and we do have a balance today, but I would say that it has to be much more grounded on research, that this will improve the learning, the reading capacity for a young person, and they should also try to level it up all the time. So.
Thank you. And you mentioned libraries just before, and for me it's been a great experience. So Brazil has a very complicated library network, or we really need more libraries. And then I go to Sweden, and then my kids started, hey, Daddy, can you go to the library and not the bookstore? That was a really big change for me. And I particularly enjoyed, there is one library in Stockholm called 1013, which is only for kids from 10 to 13. So you go there is a line, border, I cannot cross. And my kids would get there and be there for an hour. I don't know what happened, but they're happy and come with books, and they love the librarian. So I want you to talk a little bit about the importance of libraries, but also the importance of school libraries, because there is something very interesting that in this new plan, Sweden demands now that the school library has a librarian there. It's a new policy also. And it's very similar to one of the guidelines of the school library network here that created the teacher librarian, a teacher that's also responsible for the library. So it goes in the same direction of having a person there helping the students and everything. So if you could talk a little bit about the libraries and the importance of a librarian in the school library.
Yes, and this is also part of the way you should upgrade the role of the teachers in the Swedish school system. They should do the focus on education in the classroom and helping the kids in each subject. But also the importance of reading and to develop as a reader, you need a school library, especially because the schools are the last resort to create more a better playing field, or even more even playing field for all kids in Sweden. It's kind of the last common fire ground for people in Sweden. It's the school system, and therefore the school libraries are crucial, and you should have a person with fantasy knowledge and be able to pass on the interest of reading and guide a young person, especially if they are not used to reading from home and they come from a family without bookshelves in the home. So we have been focusing on that, but it will take some time. It's very easy to make something disappear, but it's very difficult to build it up. So now we have the universities. Some of the universities in Sweden has now started special fast-track librarian courses, because as we speak, this autumn when the school starts, there will be much more libraries in all schools in Sweden, but some of them will actually today, as we speak, be managed by dedicated teachers still, because there's such a lack of librarians.
Interesting. And it was mentioned here today before about also the importance of the families. And even the Barometer 23 and study in Portugal shows that when families read, of course the kids read more. But last week there was a new report in Sweden that said, and that I was reading this on the news as something very negative, because it said that 79% of Swedish parents read to children up to 5 years old. But after that, it goes to only 55. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I thought it was super positive. Even 55 seems good compared to other nations. What is the importance of the family and this reading to kids that Sweden has?
But of course, you have always to understand, and that was why I was underlining that we need to be a lot of agents for this change we want, or the empowerment of people reading on all levels. You can't only focus what we can decide with law and with funding. You need to have an attitude, and therefore it was interesting to have this discussion from the scene here before about how you act as a good parent to not only ban digital media, but you can also focus it. I say always that you should, 1 hour social media, 1 hour reading, 2 hours social media, 2 hours reading, and then the problem will be solved by itself. Very easy to say, difficult to practice, of course. Parents has a unique opportunity in Sweden, because we have this parental leave, which is for 1 year. You have the possibility to stroll around with your newborn kid for 1 year. And you have to share it between men and women, so it's both We have the parental leave, so both men and women in Sweden can make a career. Should not only be the women who are at home with the kid. It should also be 50-50 is the best guess, but it's not there yet. But so it's got a lot of time for people to go to the libraries and hang around in the preschool, even the activities before preschool. And the preschool activity starts when the kids are 1 year plus. And then we introduced reading there, and we try to affect the parents, of course, that books are good things. You have a lot of books and reading in the preschool activities, and they are run by university-educated preschool teachers. And then we have tried that from the first grade. We are trying to flood the classrooms with paper bags. Not directly flooding, but the goal is that every kid should have one paperback for each subject. And then, of course, digital media could be a complement to that, but kids should be able to come home with their book in each subject and show the parents what they are doing, and the parents has the possibility, then if they have the capacity is another thing, to get engaged and see what's happening in the school for the kids in each subject. So that's, of course, promoting the way of reading. But also Swedish parents are stressed, I guess. So I don't guess, I know. I wasn't. My kids are not so old. So we do a lot of audiobooks, of course, which is part of the reading, and then it's better with an audiobook than no stories at all.
Yes, well, 62% of the books sold in Sweden last year were audio. So you could say Swedes actually listen more than read. It's not actually true, because you should consider the library numbers, and then it's more print in the libraries. But so do you think this is a problem? This is a threat for society? Or is it creating more readers? Or
it's not a threat. It's not as good as paperback reading, I would say. But it's much better than nothing, because nothing is apathy, and that's the huge challenge, that parents don't take part of storytelling or stories or facts. So it's of course much better with audiobooks, and makes it possible, as we have heard here during the conference. It's a way to get into the literature.
And you mentioned, when commenting on the public policy of Sweden, that there is this idea of reading achieve every citizen, every resident. And you are also the Minister of Integration. And then, so I would like to talk a little bit about immigration. Portugal has lots of immigrants now. Sweden had lots of immigrants. And for me as an immigrant, it's amazing, some things that happen in Sweden. First, there is an international library that I can go there and check out Portuguese books for my kids. Usually there is a little fight, because the Portuguese kids want Portuguese, and the Brazilian kids want Brazilian Portuguese, and the librarians try to balance that. But other thing that's even more amazing is that my kids have Portuguese lessons at school every week. And I live in a small town, so it's adapted, but if you are in Stockholm, that happens. And it might happen that it's a Portuguese kid, a Brazilian kid, with an Angolan teacher, creating what Agualusa said yesterday just in the classroom there in Sweden. So what is the importance, Johan, of these policies of reading, of books for integration of immigrants?
Because to get the grip over the language is so important. And first, any language. Secondly, in Sweden, the Swedish language. So you should go to a Swedish course. Do you do?
I went.
Yeah, and how was it?
We can discuss
or
it.
You have how's your learning curve? I mean, I'm kidding now, but the parents, they should learn Swedish.
Yeah, of course.
And there should be carrots and sticks for the integration. The kids, they learn. They are quick adopters and quick learners, so they learn Swedish in school with their friends. But then their Swedish will be improved by working with their mother language, for instance, Portuguese, as we heard. That's important. It will make them stronger readers in both languages, I would say. So that's a part of the integration. And there's always been a debate that you should only focus for the kids on Swedish, but that's of course, it's not my policy, and that's still the government's policy, is that we should, it's a possibility to, as much as is reasonable, give the opportunity for kids to learn and have education in the mother language, to keep it, because it's will be a resource for the individual and for Sweden in the long run.
And
you should learn Swedish. Did you get the message?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mycket bra.
Mycket bra, okay. So another kind of inclusion that actually it's my own testimony. My son has ADHD and he's dyslexic. And if you're in Brazil, he would just hate school, any school, it doesn't matter, private. And Lorenzo wakes up very early in the morning, and sometimes at 7 a.m., he's sitting on the stairs. What you're doing here? I'm waiting for the exact time that when I leave, I'm going to arrive at the school at the moment when the digital system opens the doors. And he's the first student to school every day. And I go, you're arriving 1 hour in advance. That's fine, Daddy, I like it. And why? Because he has specific teachers, and he has half of his classes are done just for him in a different environment, and then some other classes together. But that's an incredible thing in the Swedish system, that they make school fun. They try to make school fun for everyone. So what is the importance of including everyone and to make school fun?
You get, the school will be fun if you feel safe there. The school will be fun if you feel respected there. The school will be fun if it's order in the classroom. Doesn't matter what kind of methods you use in the school, wherever you are, north or south, east or west. You have to have order in the classroom, respect in the classroom, and you should be focused on the education. And that's a challenge for kids. I mean, we do have heard that the time young people consume digital media is terrible, and one of the largest or the biggest challenges in Swedish school system that the kids come to school and they are not awake. They are still sleeping because they are hooked with the mobile phone during the night. And then if you're a teenager, of course, you have so much other challenges during your time. It's natural, the hormones, etc. And then if you have not slept and don't have a decent breakfast with porridge, how should you be able to have education? So I wish a lot of more students would have your son's attitude, that they should be first one in the classroom, because it's something nice to happen there. So this is another part which we try to work with, and then we talk about adaptations and changes for kids with special challenges, with or without a diagnosis. Of course, you have to. You can't have a system where you may always make the easiest way out in a short perspective. I mean, if you have difficulties to read, you should read more. Of course, you should not read less. You shouldn't. There are kids who need an audiobook, but it should not be a very easy way out to have an audiobook instead. You should practice more, and then we invest a lot in what we call in Sweden special teachers and support teachers with special competence to work with the kids with those kind of challenges which occur and are here with or without the diagnosis. That's an important focus. I mean, if you have a kid with or late in its development to walk, you don't put the kid in a wheelchair when it's 1 year old. You just practice more to learn to walk, and it will be solved.
Talk about mobiles were prohibited until grade 9 now, right?
It's not forbidden, but I mean, the vision is that you should use paper and pencil and paperbacks for kids, because that's the best way to...
No, I'm talking the kids' cell phones, their own cell phones.
It's forbidden the whole of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
With exceptions, because they come with special needs. It could be kids with...
there are some kids that have 2 mobiles too now.
I know, they are cheating the grown-ups all the time, yeah, but then we have scanners, so we will find them. The teachers are smart, they understand this. But I mean, this creating a situation in the classroom and during the lunch breaks and all other breaks during the school day, that the kids should be doing some activities instead, interact, and the school should be a smartphone free zone to increase creativity. And I have not, when you introduce this scheme, of course, everyone complains, and the kids are, and the parents, they call and they wonder if I hate digitalization. But now everyone is, I would say, very, very happy, at least 95%. So it improves concentration, you are active during the breaks, and you come back with fresh air in your lungs, and you can focus on German grammatics or something else, which is very fun.
So I'm asking even more as a politician now. People have talked here a lot about the importance of deep reading or high-level reading long texts. So Svenca Joava mentioned that in the context of the Ljubljana Manifesto, that says the importance of long texts to create critical thinking, and that is key to have democracy, to have a healthy democracy.
Yes.
How do you see the relationship between deep reading or high-level reading and the protection of democracy?
It's crucial. We should reinvent humanity, reinvent our species. We need to focus on reading. We are the people of the book, so to say. It's all the developments we reach, including democracy, has been part of the capacity for the masses to be able to read, to have possibility to get information which they can evaluate by themselves. So it's very important, and we can see that the interest, the interest in reading and taking part of societal discussions, or important discussions in society, it's you have a lot of problems, and democracy is not, you can't take it for granted. You have to, so if you focus on reading, it's the cornerstone for democracy, I would say. There is not a way, because all this other propaganda or social media, it wrecks your wrecks your brain, and it's what I used to call just a rabbit hole down in the underground, the dark underground.
Good. So we only have 2 minutes. If you could give a message from your experience, from what you have seen, succeeded and go wrong in Sweden, what message would you leave to the Portuguese society, families, and government as well? What's the most important thing to take?
I think the message has been very clear from the stage here before. Don't be fucked up, if you understand me. The facts are important. Listen to the scientists. I never ever met a scientist who's told me that it's good to give digital media to small children. I never ever met them. But there are other powerful players who say this is modern, this is the future. It's not the future, it's the history. So listen to that, and it means also that when you are modern, you should always focus on high quality in education, because we're meeting, there was a huge meeting in the world somewhere a couple of days ago for a new world order. And if you look to the PISA results before, the PISA results is very clear. They study, they read. The people of these countries, they do the mathematics. They are excellent. And in Sweden, at university, we have to fight to get both young women and men to go to education where you become an engineer of the AI in the future. If you don't have these resources and the education in Portugal or Sweden or the rest of Europe, this will be devastating for us. Someone else will run the world. There will be a new world order, and it will not be very pretty. It will not be with these high standards for human rights, which we all protect as members of the EU and of other reasons. So listen to the scientists and also invest in education, because it costs a lot. I mean, when we negotiate within the government in Sweden, I have to give up other things to get these books into the classrooms in every city of Sweden, in every school, but it's worth it. I lose some, and people complain on me as a liberal because of that, but I bring the books into the classroom, and that's an important contribution. It's not the only contribution for the Save the Future, but it's a crucial one.
So, thank you. Muito obrigado pela oportunidade. Tack så mycket.
Tack.
And I promise my Swedish will be better
ja,
next
jag
year.
vill.